Hey everyone, and welcome to Soul Talk with Sonia. So we just talked about part three of masturbation and pornography. So we're doing this series, right? And we're talking about as a woman, a Christian woman, living a holy lifestyle, using discernment that God has given you, and using the power that you have, because we all have power, we're not using it, and knowing your purpose, working on you, having that relationship with God where you're in love with Him, so that when your husband comes, you've already prepared yourself to be a wife because you've been a bride to God. You and God have had an intimate relationship, getting to know Him, studying His Word, praying, knowing His voice, so that when He shows you signs about a guy, that you won't miss them. Talked about your emotions, making sure you dealt with unforgiveness, you dealt with trauma, anxiety, all of that before you start wanting to court and be in a relationship, and which lead to marriage. So today we're going to talk about a godly husband. Like, how do I not necessarily seek after that, but what are the characteristics I need in a godly husband? Because we have these women have these lists. Can't put myself in that category now because I'm newlywed, but I need him to be at least 6'4", well built, dark skin, um, nice job. Need him to make more than me. I need him to go to church. All of these requirements. And sometimes we can get so caught up on the outer appearance that we look over the inner appearance, which is the heart. So, first bullet point I'm going to give you is when seeking out a godly husband, not seeking him out, but characteristics of a godly husband, is why I want you to listen. That is a superpower because sometimes it's not what people say, it's what they don't say. And so men really like when we listen. And a guy can talk to you for 2 hours straight if you just listen. And you're hearing certain things, right? So as he's talking, certain bullet points you're hearing, right? So you want to listen for one, does he talk about God? Or when we talk about God, am I always bringing up God? Does he talk about his prayer life? So, a good question to ask a guy, and sporadically I give you questions. One is, how do you start your morning? That's a great question. One thing is open ended. And he'll just tell you what he does. And you want to listen to see, okay, did he mention prayer? And maybe he gets in his car and he talks to God then because he's trying to get out of the house. But you just want to listen to see, is he talking about God at all? Is God a part of his day? Right, so that's bullet point one, listen. Two, you want to look at his character. If you all meet up somewhere, which I suggest in the beginning until you get to know him instead of going over each other's homes, is he on time? How does he treat the waitress? So you're looking at his character, his behavior. If the lady drops something, does he stop and pick it up? You want to look at this. In other words, is he chivalrous? Does he open the door? Now, he may not have to open your car door. That may not be a requirement. But does he treat you like a lady? Does he allow you to order first at a restaurant? When you all get ready to eat, does he bless the food? All of these are little things that can add up to be big things. This is what you want to look for. So bullet point one, listen. What is he saying? But then what is he not saying? Two, you want to look. Does he look you in the eye? Is he looking at your breast? Because if he is, that's a sign that all he wants is sex, right? Okay, his character. Does he tell the truth? So as you're listening, it's like, wait a minute, he said this last week, but now he's saying this. Something's not adding up. That's when you want to ask the Holy Spirit about him. Okay, so look, listen, and then three, you want to ask certain questions, right? So look, listen, and then you want to get your questions ready. So even though it's an interview, you don't want to conduct the conversation like an interview. So you want to have a list of your questions ready. So maybe, every conversation you're asking two questions, not a smorgasbord of questions, because you don't want him to feel like he's being interviewed. So it's just a casual conversation. You slip a question in every now and then, because you want to answer, what are my deal breakers? There is no perfect man, right? So there are going to be some things about him you're not going to like. He's probably not going to check off all your boxes, but there are some key boxes you want to be checked off, like his relationship with God, making sure he has one. You don't want him to just go to church or just watch online church. Does he have the relationship? You want to know, one of the most crucial questions you can ask ladies is, what is your purpose? If he doesn't know his purpose in life, okay, but is he seeking God about his purpose? Has he gone on a fast to discover his purpose? Because this is a man you're considering possibly leading you. If he doesn't know his purpose, then how is he going to lead you? That's crucial. Any man talking about they want to get married needs to know his purpose. His why. Why God put me here. Now, you need to know yours too, but he definitely needs to know his, because your gift, your purpose will make room for you. And so you're coming together as one. You need to know your purpose. He needs to know his purpose. You all could have the same purpose, and you're helping each other grow. And when you're working in your gift, money gonna come and hunt you down. You don't have to chase money because you're working in your purpose. So struggle shouldn't be a financial struggle. Both parties are working in their purpose. Okay. So that's another question that is crucial. Do you know your purpose? No, I don't. There's just this pause. Okay, that's a yellow flag. Okay, are you seeking God for your purpose? Like, well, do you think everybody has a purpose? That's a good follow-up question. But you may get that. You may get cricket. Well, not cricket. You may get silence, right? As to him not knowing the answer to that question. Okay, so we talked about how does he spend his morning? What is his purpose? You also want to know about, this question could be later on because it's kind of a deep question. Has he had any trauma in his life? We talked about that because if you or him have not dealt with trauma, you will bring it to the marriage, because the marriage only, it exposes and it also amplifies challenges. So it exposes things and it amplifies. That's why you have to get a lot of your questions answered before you say yes to the engagement. Okay. So we know about trauma. You want to know, of course, has he been healed from previous relationships? Have you been healed from previous relationships? The same questions you ask him, you need to also ask yourself. Okay, so that you can be whole. In the video on emotions, we talked about making sure that you are whole, and you want to make sure that he is whole. Sometimes you can ask that, or ask him, has he been healed from past relationships? But sometimes things may come up where you may not. He answered it, but things just happen. You can deal with something, be healed from something, and then you get triggered. So don't count someone out just because something comes up. in the near future because he might have thought he'd been healed from it. Same with you, right? Okay. And then, of course, you want to know what his plans are for the future. Does he have a 5, 10 year plan? What that question is really asking is, do you have vision? Does he have a vision? Another great question to ask is, do you have a plan for your family? So you know he doesn't have a family, if he doesn't have any kids, what is his plans for his family? Okay, you say you want to get married, you want kids, what's your plan? Now, if he says, oh, I hadn't thought that far, that's a yellow flag because, man, this guy doesn't even have vision for what he wants to look like. Now, he could have tunnel vision. His vision right now could be just on securing a better job. If he has a business, growing his business, or thinking about opening up a business. So that's why I say yellow flag, not a red flag, because he could be focused on something else. But if you continue to see him, you want to revisit that question because the Bible says, without vision, you perish. Does he have a vision for what our life could possibly look like? Okay. So listen. You want to look, pay attention to his behaviors, and then you want to ask the right questions. And also asking yourself these same questions to make sure you're good on your end. Sometimes people say, "Oh, I'm ready, God, I'm ready to be married." That's what you say, but does God say that? Last question, and this is in no particular order, but this really should be the first question before you say, "Oh, I'm ready, God." Ask God, God, am I ready to be in a relationship? Because maybe you're not. You think you are, but God's like, but you're not ready. So that's important because the right man at the wrong time is still the wrong man. And so you want the timing to be right. You want to be healed. You can be healed with God, but you're still not ready. He may show you something else you have to deal with, okay? So first ask God, God, am I ready for a relationship? Okay? In the meantime, look, listen, and ask the right questions. Thank you so much for tuning in to Soul Talk with Sonia. See you next time.